And we are live. Welcome to the NBA Strategy Show. It is Thursday, February 20th. I am Josh Engleman here to break down a 9-game NBA slate. We are back, folks. Yesterday's little one-gamer was awful. Now we're here. We got a real slate ahead of us. We got a game with a 249.5 total in Memphis and Indy. Has that crossed over to 250 yet? Have we met resistance? It did cross to 250. 250 total in that game. Got Memphis, Indy at 7, Boston, Philly at 7. We've got 3 7:30 games, an 8 o'clock, a 9 o'clock, a 9:30, and a 10. This is a massive slate. We're all spread out. You've got Deeper Dive and Live Before Lock and Playback tonight. None of those shows contain me, unfortunately. This will be a fun night to be back, but I'm just here to break it all down. So hit that like button if you haven't done it yet. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live. Follow me on Twitter at Josh Engleman and sign up for the Portfolio EV tool. 75% off using the promo code RETURN. This will be good until Sunday. We take a market-based approach to beating the books. I'm going to share the screen throughout the show to see if we have any bets that stand out to start our day. Odds boost calculators, parlay builders, live odds, shop around for whatever you are looking for, depending on if it's a sports book or a pick'em site, trend data, whatever you're looking for, we've got it for you. So join us, folks. Join us. Oh, did I press the wrong button? Ooh, apparently I did. There we go. Now we're back. Well, let's break this bad boy down, shall we? I feel like I don't know how to do this. I haven't done a real show since Tuesday of last week. Now it's Thursday, so it's been like 9 days. Feels weird, man. I don't like it. I don't like it. Just feels off. Feels off. So let's get back to normal, shall we? That'll be more fun. All right, let's get my old lineups from last Tuesday out of there. Trey, do I feel refreshed? Yes and no. I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't like breaks. I like to get into a rhythm and then just do it constantly. It usually takes me a bit to get back to normal after a break like this. So we'll see. I feel younger and younger, Steven. Younger and younger. Here we go. Memphis Grizzlies, 2.5-point favorites in Indiana, 250 total in this one. Highest pace. Neither team with a great defense. Well, I don't know why I said that. Memphis with a great defense, but they play faster than any other team. Indy, not a great defense, also plays fast. Oddly enough, though, not a lot of ownership coming into Memphis. A little bit more to Desmond Bane on the FanDuel side, where he's 30% owned. But the most owned guy from Memphis is 12% to Bane on DraftKings. Nobody else got to double digits, and I think that makes a lot of sense. For as good as this matchup is, we don't really have anybody from Memphis that plays real minutes outside of Bane, Triple J, and Ja. And yeah, you could tell me Triple J is a little under-owned, and you can tell me that Ja Morant is a little under-owned, but for some, these guys are just sort of priced where they should be. They're going to play 30, 31, 32 minutes. Bane might play a little bit more. That's probably why he's pulling the ownership, but these guys just don't play enough. Even in this amazing game environment, I don't have much I like here. Do you want to roll the dice on a $4,500 Santi Aldama? I get it, but he's also live to play 22 minutes on a 9-game slate. He's a great per minute dude. Bane looks good per minute. There's no value here for Memphis. I have Bane ranked 21st. Valdama ranked 28th. Triple J is 30th. Like, if we're talking about ranking 30 guys ahead of you, you're probably not worth that much of a conversation, other than as a GPP pivot. Jose Morales, can you tell me why Luka does not look like the beast that he was in Dallas? Because he's played 3 games. He was hurt for 2 months, played 2 games, took off another week, and then played once. He's fine. Guys, he's fine. He'll go right back to being one of the 3 best players on the planet. Everything's going to be normal. Nothing to worry about. Do we get anything else on the indie side? I know they're more owned, but like, for Memphis, I don't see anything that I'm looking at where I'm like, okay, Fields got it right, Fields got it wrong. Like, there's nothing. Your best play overall is Bane. Your best value option is Santi Aldama. Your best GPP pivot is Jaren Jackson. That's it. That's it. Now, for Indy, no injury news or anything that we're worried about here. Little bit more ownership, but nothing too crazy. We've got about 20% coming into Miles Turner. He's 6K, center only. Great point per dollar play. He's a 5.5x his salary right now. I don't think that ownership is crazy at all. Makes perfect sense to me. Had him about 10% optimal, 25% boom. Got him ranked 22nd. Not surprised at all to see Turner grabbing some love here. Not surprised to see Siakam getting 15% ownership. I've got him ranked 19th. He just kind of plays 33 minutes a night, projects for like 40 fantasy points a night, and that's exactly where we are again today. So very easy to want to put Siakam into a lineup, just a consistent option. And then Halliburton's getting 10% ownership, which seems about right to me. I'm going to assume that rest for Halliburton, the All-Star breaks rest. That's probably really good for him, honestly. 8K, point guard only, feels like the type of spot he can come out and have a big game, but they gained 3.3 possessions over their average. This is a big-time pace-up spot for the Indiana Pacers. After that, though, like, you want to work in a Nembhard lineup or a Mathurin lineup. I think that's fine. But for as good as this game looks on paper with the total and the pace, it's just not the place you go for value because they don't have anybody out. There are some spots where we have crazy value because guys are missing. Those are the spots that are getting the most ownership. If you have something you like in this game, by all means, go for it, especially at the top end. The dueling 3 best dudes, whether it's Halliburton, Siakam, Turner, Bane, Triple J, or Morant. Get a little sip of this drink. Hydration's important at my age. Yeah, S&P, Mathurin is mildly interesting. The problem is that he's already still 5,200. I think we need to see his price come down a little bit more before we pull that plug. I mean, honestly, they should go back to him starting. We've been down this road before, but let's do it. I can't believe they changed it. Pacers lineup with Mathurin in the starting lineup. So Halliburton, Nembhard, Mathurin, Siakam, Turner, plus 12.12 and 833 possessions. If you swap out Mathurin for Nesmith, that lineup only plus 4. Actually, how was that lineup last year? That's an interesting question. How was the Nesmith version last year? Hopefully cleaning the glass will give us that answer. Halliburton, Nembhard, Nesmith, plus 7.5. Okay. In 922 possessions. So the Mathurin lineup this year has been a better net rating than the Nesmith version of it last year. Interesting. Yeah, I'm team go back to the Mathurin lineup, but that's just me. They've been really good. Plus 12.2 is really good. For what Indiana is? I mean, that's better than a lot of other really good teams. That's better than the Knicks starting five, that is. It's better than the Houston starting five. It's better than the Clippers starting five. It's finally a little bit behind Denver and OKC now and Boston. But, I mean, we're talking about one of the better starting fives in the league. Good shout out there, S&P. Let's go to the best starting five in the league, the Boston Celtics. Oop, there we go. The Boston Celtics are 7-point favorites in Philadelphia, 223 total. This is an interesting one. No ownership coming into Boston. No real surprise here. Pace down spot for the Celtics. They're at full strength. They don't have anybody on their injury report. No ownership here. 5% to a $4,400 Drew Holiday. 4% to Jaylen Brown. 3% to Porzingis. 2% to Tatum. I've got Tatum ranked 13th. Are we going to be grabbing any like really obvious value plays from Boston? No. Do we have any like just super obvious stuff? No. There's a reason they're not owned. I mean, Philly is the least owned, second least owned team on the slate at 4% total. Boston's not too far behind at 13. So I don't really want much of Jaylen Brown or Derek White or Kristaps Porzingis or Drew Holiday. All I want to say is that I think small forward, power forward eligible Jason Tatum is a little tiny bit underowned. Just a little bit. Nothing crazy. But I think he's underowned. I don't need to have a ton because it's not like he's being rostered like that. But I'm a little surprised to see him be as low owned as he is. That just feels a little light. Trying to look here. Do I just have him like over projected a bit? I'm guessing I do. I'm guessing his points prop is like 3 lower than what I have. And this is all just going to go away when I make an update later today. 26.5 juice to the under. Yeah, 2. So still think he's underowned, but I'm not surprised to see it now. Yeah, I got that Boston Celtics Jason Tatum usage rate a little too high. Let's walk that back a bit. Actually, let's just do that. Boom. Yeah, that's going to come back down, but still looks solid. 4,400 for Drew is like, you look at it and you think to yourself, that seems like too low of a price for Drew Holiday. He's a 0.8 fantasy point per minute guy, and he's probably playing like 28 to 30 minutes, so it's really not all that surprising. Now, on the Philly end of this one, Philadelphia. Justin Edwards is going to be out. Paul George is available. No Eric Gordon, no Kyle Lowry, obviously no Jared McCain. No ownership. Like I said, 4% total to Philly. The Clippers are at 2. Philly's at 4. Milwaukee's at 4. They're the only teams that are sub 10%. You want to go to Quentin Grimes today? I think he looks interesting. Shooting guard, small forward. I'm assuming Grimes starts in place of Justin Edwards. And I would say that he is like mildly underowned if he's starting. But I mean, Maxey grades out with a 4% optimal. Joel Embiid grades out 6% optimal. He's 9,900. Unowned. Paul George, unowned. Kelly Oubre, unowned. I don't have anything here that I really want for Philly. It's a terrible matchup. Tough spot. Boston coming to your place. These guys are just not priced for ownership. If you like them in GPPs, I understand. It is not for me. See if we have any bets out there. All right, we got a 1 odd shopper rating on Brandon Clark right now. That's probably not worth it. Let's see if we have anything on the Pacers side. 5 odd shopper rating, Tyrese Halliburton under 8.5 assists. It's minus 115 on DraftKings right now and on Onyx odds. Nobody else has positive value anywhere. Feels like a good time to grab that Halliburton assist line. 4.7 historical ROI. It's a really good line if you want to grab something good, guys. 3.6% EV on DraftKings for Halliburton. Let's check the Boston side and the Philly side quickly. Two solid plays with Tatum points and Jaylen Brown points, both under. Jaylen Brown under 22.5, Tatum under 26.5. Both about like 2.5% EV options. Nothing too crazy, but I wouldn't leave it go. And then the Philadelphia 76ers, nothing over a 1 odd shopper rating, so we can go ahead and pass on that one. But this is Odd Shopper. This is the portfolio EV tool. Gives us all the data. We can put these bets in very, very quickly. Let's go to game number 3. Orlando Magic. 1-point favorites in Atlanta. 222 total. We are getting a little bit of ownership to Orlando. It's kind of weird. It's basically 10% to Paolo, 10% to Franz, 10% to a $4,100 Wendell Carter Jr., and then 10% to John Isaac. I don't want John Isaac. It doesn't seem like they're ever giving him minutes. Yes, he's 3,400 and power forward center eligible. I just assume we have better value by the time we get there. I think that Franz Wagner is your best play on Orlando. I have him ranked 11th. I have Paolo 27th. I have Wendell Carter Jr. 37th. Franz was 11% optimal, 27% chance of 52 fantasy points. We don't have value yet today. The gap between target score and projection right now is 9. So be aware of that. But Franz, 1.3 fantasy points per minute. He's a 5x play here today. Small forward is a very difficult position to fill. It's an awesome matchup for Orlando against Atlanta. Bad defense, pace up spot. So I would want to go to Franz first if I'm going to Orlando. I would say that Paolo would likely be 2. Just can't seem to buy a bucket right now. 8,300 power forward only. Properly owned at 10%. I'd say KCP is probably a hair under owned at 3,600. He's 5% owned. I have him 11% optimal, but just a 12% boom. That's sort of the problem here. You need 27 fantasy points out of KCP, and he's just not going to do that all that frequently. So, okay value. Someone will look better later. Wendell Carter Jr., if he gets like 26 minutes, you never know what his minutes are going to be, but if you get those minutes, he is way underpriced at 4,100. He's a guy you want to keep your eye on, for sure. Grizzly, you should probably work on your projections. That's too high. Oh, that drink is so difficult to drink. Hurts my throat. Yeah, like Wendell Carter Jr. at 4,100. I get it, right? Like, he played 28 minutes last time out, coming off of 18, 11, 26, and 20. I went 23, but that just means that 28 is in the cards here. So, I don't mind it. I'm not surprised to see he's already getting 10% ownership. You're going to need 30 fantasy points out of him. So, calibrate that how you will. But there's really 4 options for you on Orlando. Franz, Paolo, Wendell Carter Jr., and KCP. Any Magic bets? We do have one on KCP right now. Odd shopper rating of 2. Under 1.5 threes made for KCP, minus 160. 7% historical ROI if you want to grab it. Gives you if you want to play KCP and then also bet on his under, might not be the worst idea. All right, we'll go to the Atlanta side here. Well, by the way, I didn't mention it before. Boston Philly was the slowest game on the slate. All right, on the Atlanta side, there's basically nothing here. I'm very intrigued by the ownership of Onyeka Okongwu. He's the only guy that got to double digits. He's at 18%. And he's 6,100. He's center only. His points prop is 13.5. I got him at 13. What's his rebounding prop? His rebounding prop is 9.5. I got him at 9. You could tell me I'm a little light on him, but I really don't understand why he's 18% owned. I can't figure that out. That seems too high to me. It's not a good matchup for him. Center talent is obviously there for Orlando. What's the benefit here for Onyeka Okongwu? Why are people going there? If that ownership holds, I won't be there. I will want to go to Trae Young, 9,400, point guard only, 4% owned. I like him more than I liked Jason Tatum. Why is he not getting any love? I mean, I get the matchup's not great, but no Suggs. That helps. Trae's points prop, 25.5, juice to the over. I have 27. I mean, that doesn't seem crazy to me. Assist prop for Trae Young, currently sitting at 9.5, juice to the over. I have 10.2. I think I have Trae Young projected pretty well, and he is essentially unowned. But he's my number 5 play in contenders right now. 13% optimal, 32% chance of 56 fantasy points. When's the last time that we got 56 out of Trae Young? Most recent game. Now, did play 44 minutes, so caveat there. Had a 64-pointer in February, so he's done it twice. 52.5 on February 8th. I like Trae as a large field GPP pivot pay-up option. I'm surprised he's not more owned. I would fade Onyeka Okongwu. And then, you know, your Dyson Daniel, George Niang, Karis LeVert's, nothing fun. I got nothing interesting to say about those guys. Do we have anything for the Hawks? All right, so we do have a Trae Young bet out there right now. 3 odd shopper rating, 2.7% EV. Another DraftKings gem. Trae Young, points, rebounds, and assists under 40.5 is out there as a 3 odd shopper rating. You can grab it right now. Minus 115. That line is out there at a couple other spots too. If you're at PointsBet, Unibet, Bet Rivers, Sugar House, they all have a slightly better line than DraftKings does right now. All right, let's get to game number 4. Cleveland Cavaliers, 13-point favorites in Brooklyn, 225 total. Second slowest game of the day. Cleveland, one of the more low-owned teams, 16% in total. Ty Jerome, questionable. Isaac Okoro, questionable. Okoro's been out for 14 games or something like that. No ownership here, though. 4% to DeAndre Hunter, 3% to Garland, 3% to Allen. The highest ranking I got to anybody from Cleveland was 33% to Donovan Mitchell. He's unowned. I don't know why I said 33%. 33rd is where I have Donovan Mitchell ranked. 40th for Darius Garland. 50th for DeAndre Hunter. There's absolutely nothing here for me for Cleveland. They're 2 touchdown favorites against this crappy Brooklyn team. Brooklyn's got nothing for them. These Cleveland guys are all going to play like 28 minutes together. I don't see it. I don't see it. Maybe, you know, if Jerome and Okoro are out, you feel a little bit different about like Sam Merrill, but I think the better idea here is just largely avoiding the Cleveland Cavaliers, who are also getting even more depth. Javonte Green come on down, grabbing him on the buyout market. Now, Brooklyn does have a little bit of ownership coming in. I do not anticipate it to stick around like it is, but we'll talk through it. We've got 10% coming into Keon Johnson. Got 10% coming into Day'Ron Sharp, just shy of 10% to D'Angelo Russell and Cam Johnson, and 30 to Trendon Watford. I'm gonna just assume that Trendon Watford doesn't get 32% ownership, but I think that is a very good testament of what today is for value. We don't have it. He was my second most optimal guy. I believe they only have 10 active bodies right now. So I understand. The good point per minute guy, 0.95, somewhere in that neighborhood, 4K, power forward center. 30% just feels a little high. You want to put him in the low 20s? Makes perfect sense to me. Am I going to get a bunch of Trendon Watford? Seems like it. Seems like it. I don't care about the matchup. There's minutes to be had, and he's a little underpriced. I kind of prefer Keon Johnson. I don't know if it's just you or me or 13% optimal, 20% boom. Only 11% owned. Guru. From what I've seen, that transaction hasn't gone through yet. If it is, then they'll have an 11th. By the way, what Guru has mentioned in chat is that the Nets signed Killian Hayes to a 10-day contract. Still waiting to see that one hit officially. So we'll see there. I don't think that will matter. That'll just make you like Keon. It'll make you like everybody from Brooklyn less if he's available. They could also get their two-way guys and G League guys available as the day goes on. But I think what we should really be doing is just saying Keon Johnson looks okay. Cameron Johnson looks okay. Trendon Watford does look good. Trendon Watford is the easiest guy to click on because I think he's just going to play 20-something minutes. But he will look worse and worse throughout the day. All right. Do we have any Nets or Cavs bets? Nothing for the Cavs. Just under 1.5 odd shopper ratings. Let's take a look at the Nets. 1 odd shopper rating on Keon Johnson points on ESPN. No, thank you. S&P, to be fair, I don't know if Brooklyn is the NBA. God. How could you even think that he's the answer to any question? Anyway, Chicago Bulls. Oh, by the way, hit that like button. We're at the halfway point here. Wouldn't hurt. We're about to get to the Knicks. They are actually the most owned team on today's slate, but we start with the 12-point underdog Chicago Bulls. 242 total here in New York. Chicago is going to be without Patrick Williams for this one. They're also without much ownership. 10% to Vooch, just shy of 10 to Matas Buzelis and Kobe White. Now, I only got Kobe White to 10% optimal, so I think his ownership is right. I do not have very much interest in Vooch if he's already going to get some love. We're not going to be short on centers today. I think the second best option is Buzelis. He's already properly owned. I don't really have much here. It's a pace down spot for Chicago. They play incredibly fast. Like, I don't need a $7,200 Josh Giddey here. I don't need Lonzo. I don't need Trey Jones or Kevin Huerter. It's Kobe White and it's Buzelis, and I don't want anything else from Chicago. I think Vooch is pretty massively overowned. Let's see. Ooh. Nets are also converting Tyrese Martin to a standard contract, but that came out yesterday as well. Interesting. Welcome back, Killian. All right, let's get to the Knicks. Now we got to do it. So, this is fascinating to me. This is how Knicksy this is, because Josh Hart, if you guys remember, was questionable for like probably the final week and a half before All-Star break. Just kept playing. Well, he's out now. Josh Hart took a week and a half off. I'm guessing he because he's constantly doing stuff, it never like hits him. And then he took a week off and all of a sudden it was like, oh shit, Josh Hart's just out. So no Josh Hart. Questionable tag on OG Anunoby, which starts to get a little weird here. 50% ownership coming into Karl Anthony Towns. 50% ownership coming into Jalen Brunson. I've got Brunson 3rd overall. I've got Towns 4th overall. Is 50% too much for both of them? A little bit. This is a great matchup. Terrible Bulls defense. Fast-paced game. Yes, Towns and Brunson should be as owned as they possibly can. They are the chalk. They are cash game locks. Whatever you need to hear. They're awesome plays. I mean, to me, 2 of the 4 best plays on the slate. We're also getting about 30% ownership to Precious Achiuwa, 5,700 power forward center. I think he's probably starting no matter what, and extra special starting no matter what if OG happens to be out. I got him ranked 15th. I think 30% ownership makes a ton of sense. He's a 0.9 fantasy point per minute guy. The price is fine. The position's fine. Minutes could even be better than the 33 that I gave him. Deserves every bit of that ownership. We're seeing about 10% ownership coming into Miles McBride and Cam Payne. I think they're both reasonable value options. McBride will look a lot better if Anunoby ends up out. Payne, I think we'll just have better versions of by the time we get to the end of today. Mikal Bridges, though, 6,400, shooting guard, small forward eligible, 6% owned. And I agree with it. I have him 46th as a rank. This feels so different to me than what it normally does, because I'm normally way more interested in the Knicks than early ownership. Now, that doesn't appear to be the case, at least for Bridges. For Towns and Brunson, I get it. And if Anunoby plays, he looks fine. But I don't think Bridges is like wildly underowned. So today will be the day that I don't get him and he won't miss. But if you're starting lineups, it's Karl Anthony Towns and it's Jalen Brunson as heavy A+ level priorities. Precious Achiuwa is close. It's close. The campaign ownership, I think, goes away as we get a little bit of value later today. But if Anunoby ends up out, that Achiuwa ownership's going up. Bridges ownership's going up. McBride, Shamet, Payne. We're going to have even more ownership coming into the Knicks. Here's a fun one. This is great. We got Prince in here asking, what, no Huck Porty as a 3K backup? Well, no, I'm going to go ahead and not use the guy that doesn't play. How could you be here every day? For real. Last 3 games, 2 minutes, 6 minutes, 8 minutes. That's who you want to play? Smart. You listened to this show for 6 years. Gained nothing. It's incredible. You could probably visually see the sound wave go in the ear and then go right back out the other side. It's probably nuts. Like if you blow smoke over here, you'd see the sound wave floating away. Like, oh, there goes all the information. Incredible. Well, if no OG or Hart, who else is going to play? Is Ariel Hukporty going to play the 2 today? New shooting guard for the Knicks? I mean, obviously, we all know he's just going to play 25 minutes today, because why not? But yeah, let's get the guy that has no tie to this team whatsoever. I've got Ariel Huckporty ranked 173rd. And his question is, what about Ariel Huckporty? 172 names today came in ahead of Ariel Huckporty. 172. He's like, we should look up. I wonder what 173 guy is going to be. LA Clippers. 1 point favorites in Milwaukee. 227 total. Now, there's not a lot of ownership coming into the Clippers, but there's even less coming in to the Milwaukee Bucks. They are 4% owned. We've got 7% ownership coming into Kawhi, 7% ownership coming into Zoo, 5 to Norm Powell. The highest ranked guy I had was actually Kawhi Leonard, 7,100, small forward eligible, and is playing 32 minutes now? Three games before the break, 33, 31, 34. I think 7% owned Kawhi is kind of intriguing. Nothing crazy, but like if you wanted to 2x the field, I'd get it. I've got Zoo ranked 48th, Powell ranked 50, and Harden ranked 54. I don't know how you separate those guys. I also don't know what they're going to do with minutes. They've got too many bodies now. And it's going to be interesting to see who plays between Chris Dunn, Ben Simmons, Amir Coffey, Nick Batum, Bogdan Bogdanovic. So it makes their end of the bench pretty difficult. But if I'm ranking the Clippers, it's Kawhi Leonard 1. And I would not be ranking anybody else. So, I'm a fun guy. Now, Milwaukee. 4% owned in the aggregate. 2% to Giannis, 2% to Kuzma, and nothing else. However, we have no idea what Milwaukee's going to look like because Damian Lillard is questionable. Right hamstring strain. Andre Jackson is questionable. Right wrist sprain. Giannis is questionable. Left calf strain. So we can't even talk about Milwaukee. Obviously, we're going to get something here from the Bucks if it breaks correctly. Like if Dame ends up out, we're going to have some point guard value. If Giannis ends up out, we're going to have some forward value. If they both end up out, we're going to have crazy value. This can go a couple different directions. So we need to be aware that Milwaukee is a giant pivot point. So we don't totally know what that's going to look like. Hopefully someone sits. I think that'd be fun. Need more liquids. Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do rotation-wise. Possible that Dame and Andre Jackson sit out because of All-Star Weekend. Yeah, they're questionable. Mr. Beast clubbed Dame on the last shot. What? In what? Obviously, I didn't watch. I don't know a single second of what happened in All-Star break, but why was Dame on the floor with Mr. Beast? I don't even know if Dame was an All-Star or why he was there. So it's only All-Star. I don't care. Look, we're going to have a bunch of value here. Can we talk about it? Can we talk about the fact that DraftKings had Kyle Kuzma at 3,800 like 3 games ago? Fucking stupid. Shooting contest versus some random guy. Okay. Wait, was it not actually Mr. Beast? The Stunner. I don't like Mr. Beast. Yeah, that makes sense. Somebody's always got to be contrarian, just hating people succeeding incredibly with no help from anyone else. Josh was the same person who said Max Christie won't matter at all, yet he's literally playing better than Luka. Well, we're not overreacting there. So why? Let's just be clear here. If you want to say that, you'd be willing to trade Luka Doncic for Max Christie. That's fucking stupid and you know it. Don't come in here talking like you're making sense as if Max Christie and Luka Doncic should be discussed in the same breath. Come on now. Mr. Beast gave the money away. Got it. You know what? This is going to be fun. I don't really like you. You're pretty annoying. So I'm going to boot you for 30 minutes until the show's over so I don't have to read the stupid stuff you say. It's just more fun for me. So, see you later. Show will be over by the time you get back. Enjoy the quiet. Anyway, Dame, Giannis, Andre Jackson. We need the Q tags. I'm not going to dig into Milwaukee because there's no... I can say this. If Dame and Giannis are in, we're not playing these guys. They don't look good. 6% optimal for Dame, 5% optimal for Giannis. We're not even going this direction. Well, we can get to the biggest underdogs on today's slate, if that's appealing to you guys in any way. That would be the Charlotte Hornets on the back-to-back. 16-point underdogs in Denver 228. So Hornets back-to-back heading to elevation, and they're 16-point dogs against Denver. Now, there's no expectation that Mark Williams is going to be playing today's game. I'm not expecting LaMelo Ball to be playing this game either, which does mean that Charlotte is extra special dog shit today, which should be a real blast. So we got 20% ownership coming into Nick Smith. We've got 20% ownership coming into Elfrid Payton. We don't have any ownership coming into Miles Bridges, which I think is worth a question. What is his points prop and how over projected do I have him right now? Because if I don't have him over projected, that's going to be intriguing. Points prop, Miles Bridges, 25.5. Holy shit, I'm right on the number. Yo, Miles Bridges looks awesome. I have Miles Bridges ranked 9th today. He is 1% owned currently. That ownership is going to come up for sure, but I think he is worth the $8,700 price tag, assuming we have no LaMelo. Nick Smith makes sense to me. 20% owned, 4,500, shooting guard, small forward eligible. The minutes are there. They're going to be there even more on a day like today. Great position, great price, one of the better values. Elfrid Payton played 14 and a half minutes yesterday. It wasn't very good. Gonna go ahead and assume that he is gonna start today. I went 28 minutes. It's my number 2 play. 4K, point guard only. Call it 0.85 fantasy points per minute. We're gonna need a bunch more information here. We obviously don't have Charlotte's injury report. Who knows? Maybe more guys are out. We don't know if Nurkic is starting. We don't know if Diabate is starting. There's a lot of different ways this could be going. But what I think we could feel pretty good about is, assuming LaMelo and Mark Williams don't play, there's going to be a lot of interesting stuff for Charlotte. Whoever starts at point guard, Nick Smith no matter what, Miles Bridges to me no matter what, whoever starts at center, is it Nurkic, is it Diabate? Because if Nurk starts at center, he's going to look really good. I only gave him 20 minutes. He's 4,300. He's going to look damn good today. So it's hard to talk about Charlotte specifically right now, other than just saying we need their injury report and these guys are going to look really good. We just don't know who specifically is going to look good. Under 36.5 points, rebounds, and assists for Miles Bridges is out there on DraftKings right now with a 2 odd shopper rating, if that's something you're interested in. And then we go to Denver. Now, Denver is looking a little different today because Russell Westbrook is back. Peyton Watson's still out. MPJ, probable. Jamal Murray, probable. Aaron Gordon, probable. So we do have that. Not the Nurk stuff again. He always plays limited minutes. Well, he's on a different team now, and the starting center isn't going to play today. So, maybe keep your mind open. No ownership coming into Denver. 6% to Jokic, 2% to Michael Porter Jr. I don't have these guys grading out all that well. One of the lower optimal teams for me. I do have Jokic as your best option at 12.5. We've talked about it throughout this entire show. I told you guys this over and over again. There's not a lot of value out there. If there's not a lot of value out there, you're never getting ownership to a $12,500 center-only Jokic. This is where you pay down at center in those scenarios because you can't get to it. It's not as flexible. Will he look better by the end of the day? Maybe. You need 71.5 out of him today. Murray, Brown, Porter, Westbrook now coming back. Strother, Gordon. I don't know how you go to anything here for Denver. Not to mention the fact that they're 16-point favorites here at home against Charlotte. This is massive, massive, massive blowout potential. It just the travel piece of this is huge. The lack of talent for the Hornets is huge. I don't know how you want to go to Denver. This feels like a game where Nikola Jokic plays 24 minutes. Stream's lagging? Interesting. I don't have a single drop frame. You guys might want to refresh. I don't have anything negative here. Frankie, that is not a thing that's 100% incorrect. If you're thinking like that, you need to get that thought out of your head as fast as you possibly can. There is no statement less true than what you just said. I think your chances of winning increase whenever you play Jokic, no matter the slate. He's the best, most consistent DFS player. That is 100% untrue. I'm not going to disagree that he's the best player and the most consistent. I can handle that. But there's no such thing as your chances of winning increasing no matter what. That's just not a thing. Any Denver bets? Nope. Everything is just under 1 OS rating. All right, let's go to Phoenix. 2 games to go. Hit that like button if you haven't done it yet. Reminder, we've been looking at Odd Shopper in the Portfolio EV tool throughout this entire show. You can get it for a month for 75% off using the promo code RETURN. Link in the description of this video. You can place all these bets that I'm looking at. Slowly build up your bankroll. Use that to take your shots on the DFS side. This deal works until Sunday. You guys can grab it right now by clicking the link. Yeah, Valentino, I don't know about Bull today. We're going to have a conversation about it. I didn't project him very well, but I kind of want chat to have this conversation with me. Give me 1 second here, guys. Yeah, the stream looks great. We're good. All right, here we go. So, Phoenix. Obviously, Bull has been getting some minutes over the past 3 games. They're 2-point favorites in San Antonio. No Wemby. No Wemby going on. He is doubtful with an illness. Phoenix has Beal back. So I went real minutes to Booker, to Durant, to Beal, to Tyus Jones, to Grayson Allen. Then you get your Nick Richards and Mason Plumlee minutes. Right there's 200. S&P, I think Biyombo's going to start. So I got 200 minutes to these guys, and I don't think that's really up for debate. I also expect Royce O'Neal, because remember, if I have 200 to Booker, Durant, Beal, Tyus, Allen, Richards, Plumlee, if those guys have 200, and I don't think anybody's going to quibble too much about that, I expect Royce O'Neal to just play more minutes than Bol always. So if that's the case, I'm just out of minutes. I only have 40 left, and I'm giving Royce O'Neal his normal run. So in this case, for me, I think Bol's time is coming to an end. Now, whether that means he just leaves the rotation and they go to like Ty Washington or something, I don't know. Now, there's no ownership coming into Phoenix. So the good news is this probably won't matter. Bol's already 4,800. And I don't think there's a scenario right now where you can project him for enough minutes to make him be interesting. I do think Kevin Durant is underowned at 7% ownership. I got him 12% optimal, 30% chance of 55 fantasy points. I have him ranked 7th. I think Booker looks okay as a pivot. Tyus Jones looks okay as a pivot, but there's a reason Phoenix is 18% owned. They don't look very good, and they're getting most of their bodies back. But the main takeaway for me here is I don't know who's starting for Phoenix. I don't know what they're going to do here. Eventually, they're going to get to the point where they either tear the Band-Aid fully off, or, which I think honestly might be right now. But I don't know who is going to start for Phoenix. Let's see. Suns right now to make the playoffs are plus 320. They have no wiggle room left. I mean, Frankie, he does have 80-point fantasy upside. And I do think he looks interesting at 6%, but your logic is completely incorrect and wrong. Very, 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 very wrong. I can't explain how wrong it is. So yeah, we need the starting lineup here for Phoenix, whatever they're going to end up doing. Tyus, Booker, Durant, probably Nick Richards, and then something, whether that's Bol, Royce O'Neal, back to Bradley Beal. Who the hell knows? But I can tell you this. It probably doesn't matter at all because there's no ownership coming in here. Booker and Durant are starting no matter what. Even if Bol starts, I think it's really hard to be excited about his minutes. He will be a great if he's starting and you can give him 26 minutes, then I think 4,800 will be interesting. But they've got these bodies back now, and I'm going to assume he's gone. Well, to be fair, they are incapable of rebuilding. They have to just be bad before they can do anything. Any bets on the Suns side? Any Suns bets? Yeah, I mean, look, Bol at 4,800 gets 30. That's a cash game lock for me. Yeah, but there's no way you can project that today. I don't think it's possible to project him for anything north of 28 minutes. I think that's legitimately impossible. We do have two decent plays at Onyx odds. on Nick Richards' PRA. DraftKings has it as well. Under 19.5 PRA minus 115 is a 4 odds shopper rating. Under 9.5 rebounds for Nick Richards minus 110 at DraftKings, 3 odds shopper rating. Not bad. Yeah, I mean, when it comes to Bol, you kind of just have to be available for the swap. Like, if he's starting, he's a very reasonable 10 to 20% owned guy at a minimum. If he's not starting, he's unplayable. So we just need that information. Now we get to the second most owned team of the day, the San Antonio Spurs, without Victor Wembanyama. 50% ownership coming into De'Aaron Fox. He is my number one play. Point guard, shooting guard eligible, 7,900. Matchup against the crappy Phoenix team. It is very, 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 very easy to want to play De'Aaron Fox. Number one guy by a mile. 30% ownership coming into Chris Paul. He is my number 8 play overall. 5,300, point guard only. Happy to go there. 30% ownership coming into Devin Vassell. He ranks 12th for me. 5,800, shooting guard, small forward. Again, no Wemby. Looks great to me. Those 3 guys are going to pull a ton of ownership, and they should. Then we have to have the Jeremy Sohan conversation. I don't, does he start? Maybe. Could. He's 35% owned right now. I won't have him if he's 35% owned, but if he starts, then I might. I don't know if he starts. He could. He certainly could. He's got a points prop of 9.5 right now, and I have it at 10.2. So I have Jeremy Sohan ranked 42nd, and I don't have his points prop wrong. And I'm probably like a half rebound light. Unless he starts, he's, to me, 20% overowned. I have no interest in Jeremy Sohan if he's not starting. And people aren't going to be swapping off of him with nearly enough gusto by the time you get to 9:30. I think Biyombo starts. Maybe. If he does, he's the flat 3K. I have no idea how many minutes he plays. But you roster him for value. But who knows? Who knows? San Antonio is in flux. Fox, Vassell, Paul are going to look amazing today, no matter what. No matter what. Sohan will be interesting depending on if he starts. I don't think Castle looks very good at 6,200. I don't have any interest in the Barnacle of the Bay. It would be Biyombo if he does get the start. We should see. Nico, Wemby being out, the portfolio EV tool, injuries are meaningless. There's no projections in that. It's just a market tool. Wemby's status is essentially irrelevant. It matters in situations where, like, if the guy got ruled out right now and then you pulled up portfolio EV, but with him just being doubtful, that injury status is irrelevant. Keldon Johnson is in the same bucket as, who was it? Why am I forgetting already? Oh, Ariel Huck-Porty. Ariel Huck-Porty is like Keldon Johnson. Ranked 108th. Yeah, Jeremy, that's certainly possible. 20 minutes is probably too high, but they don't really have a ton of options. So we'll see what they end up doing. I mean, look, it could be Mamu getting, 20 minutes at 3K and power forward center. We're going to have a lot of ownership. We're going to have value for San Antonio. Some of it's just kind of up in the air so far. That's all. Nothing crazy. We'll learn a little bit more as the day goes on. All right, final game. And not much to say here. Lakers are the least owned team on today's slate. They're 3.5 point favorites in Portland, 226 total. However, we have no idea if Luka Doncic is playing. We have no idea if LeBron James is playing. Both guys out on the back-to-back. I can say this. Portland also has a bunch of Q tags. I have the Lakers as 7-point favorites. Kind of leads me to believe that one of these dudes aren't playing. Feels like LeBron, feels like Luka, feels like both, honestly. Hard to say what we're doing here. I can say this. If Luka and LeBron are in, they don't look very good. I've got LeBron 45th. I've got Luka 60th. I'm not playing these guys. Like, I don't really see it. Now, if Luka and LeBron are out, we're going to have a lot to look at. What that ends up being could be Austin Reeves, could be Rui, could be Gabe Vincent, Dalton Connect, Shake Milton. I mean, we're going to have a lot of value on the Lakers. We just don't know for sure what it's going to look like. Trying to figure out who I think would look the best. I mean, Shake Milton at 3,200 if Luka is out will probably look pretty damn good because of his per minute rates. Rui at that point is probably going to play like 34 minutes. I don't think the centers matter at all. Hayes and Len and Vandy. Obviously, Reeves gets a rate bump. We also can't really talk about Portland because we have a Q tag on Jeremy Grant, a Q tag on Scoot Henderson, and a Q tag on Robert Williams. DeAndre Ayton is already out, so that's not helping us. Kind of difficult to break this one down. We got about 5% ownership coming into Simons and Denny, which makes some sense. I think Jeremy Grant is mildly interesting at 5,500 if he plays. You got to be ready to swap this game. Imagine if Luka, LeBron, Jeremy Grant, Scoot Henderson, and Time Lord all get ruled out tonight at 9 o'clock. We might have crazy swaps to be ready for here for Lakers and Portland. But at 10 o'clock in the morning, I don't have anything left to break down here for this last game. There's just too much up in the air. It's like all the Q tags and a non-injury report. Here are my top 10s. These are already out on Twitter. De'Aaron Fox, Elfrid Payton, Jalen Brunson, Karl Anthony Towns, and Trae Young. Nick Smith, Kevin Durant, Chris Paul, Miles Bridges, and Keon Johnson. FanDuel side. I was like, why can't I zoom in here? FanDuel top 10. Miles Bridges, Kevin Durant, De'Aaron Fox, Desmond Bane, Karl Anthony Towns, Franz Wagner, Kawhi Leonard, Trae Young, Josh Green, and Elfrid Payton. Oh, boy. Well, another one in the books, folks. 9 games up, 9 games down. Deeper dive later tonight at 5 o'clock. Live before lock at 6. Playback at 7. I'm not on any of those things. I got puppy class tonight, but I'll be back tomorrow morning. Contenders video coming out shortly. Good luck, everybody. We went long today. It was nice to be back. We got a full 9-gamer. Enjoy yourselves. Hit the like button and sign up for the Portfolio EV tool. Use the promo code RETURN.